If your athlete, your teams are working so hard, but they still are not consistent when it's game day, when you have the big race, the competition, this episode is for you.
Hello, and thank you for joining the Champion Within podcast, your premier go-to spot for unlocking your winning mindset. Whether you're an athlete looking to elevate your game to the next level, a coach leading the charge, an enthusiastic parent cheering from the sidelines, or an educator molding young minds, the Champion Within podcast episodes are packed with value, sharing the tools and strategies to unlock your potential and rise to new heights. Hosted by mentor, coach, and mindset leader Kate McCauley. Let's sit back and enjoy today's episode while discovering your champion within. And now, here's Kate.
Today, I want to show you one hidden habit that the championship teams are building. The average teams, they're completely ignoring this. And I want you to start using this with your athletes today. This is one of the biggest shifts that I worked on with my New York cheer team, Tuckahoe High School. They went through sectionals, nationals, states, and they finished as state champions of New York. When people ask me, what exactly do you do? My first response is, well, short story is I help people win. That line, I help people win, does stop people in their tracks and they think, oh, well, I want to win, right? Who doesn't want to win? I want you to realize if you want to be one of the winners, you have little habits that are in place right now that are probably doing some good things. And then you have some little habits in place that are not helping you at all. If you can change these little habits, they turn into big things that create championship skills. These are things that are the difference between the championship elite teams and the average teams. Really, the average teams and the teams that aren't good at all, they are ignoring these habits. When I first started talking with my Tuckahoe cheerleaders from New York, effort wasn't the problem. They were showing up, they trained hard, they're putting in training with coaches after practice. I was seeing it on Instagram, but the way they showed up to competitions was inconsistent. Their coaches were telling me, we know they are talented. Their families were talking to the coaches. We believe in them. We know that the talent is there. But the way that they were looking at things, being superstitious, feeling like bad vibes are here, this was really just hurting them. And at practice, it was random as well. Some days they were locked in. Some days they were, I don't want to say goofing off, but the bad vibes or the energy would consume them. This is what's going to happen in your brain, whether you're an athletic team or you're in a workplace environment. If you are just going through the motions and letting that float through your brain that, well, when we were here last time this happened, or this is bad vibes, I feel this energy isn't going to be good, your brain is going to prove you right. That same inconsistency will show up at competitions because you're practicing it. You're practicing that story on repeat in your brain. You're hearing yourself say it before, during practice, right before the big game, the big competitions. Even if it isn't a big competition, you are thinking ahead to the big competitions. This was happening before we worked together. All right, I got to tell you this. I hate bugs. Absolutely hate bugs. I blame my mom. When I was little, I guess I would get really freaked out if a bug, fly, whatever, would fly through the car, and she gave me a fly swatter. I really think that this caused me to just hate bugs even more, and I would be like a freak about it. Have you ever heard the term fly on a wall? If you could hear what was going on, see what was going on. I'm going to take that term, but I'm going to change it because I hate bugs so much. And I want to use this as like a bird in a tree, and your team is outside walking into the arena, wherever they're playing the game. Maybe they have a track meet and they're walking onto the track. Maybe they're heading into a cheer competition. Maybe it's a big game for basketball. Maybe it's onto the lacrosse field, wherever. You're the bird up in the tree, because I'm not going to do fly on the wall. I hate bugs. You're the bird up in the tree as the coach. When you're that bird just sitting up on the branch, what do you see? When they get off the bus and they arrive here, what are you noticing? How are they walking? How are they talking to each other? Are they together as a group? Body language. Now, be honest, if you are watching yourself, like this is a little movie for you as the bird here up on the tree, and you're the coach walking in, maybe you have assistant coaches. What's the vibe there? What's the energy? Where are people's phones? Are they out scrolling, looking at those? Because we're about to step on and compete. I think you probably can figure out some things here, right? When I'm asking you to be this bird, you need to be this bird and now fly around as you see them putting their bags down. They arrive either inside the arena or at the field, the sidelines, a bleacher, a seat, a bench. What do? Is there a routine? Are they doing something? Are they locked in as a team, or is this just inconsistent? Maybe we do something different every day. If you were this bird and you're flying by again, tomorrow you're at a different place or you're at your home field. Does it look the same? Because it should be. I need you to be thinking about this. Now, come back into your coach form. Come back to you. You're no longer a bird. I hate the bug thing. Now that we can understand why you're the bird. I want you to be honest with yourself and think about your practices. When you are practicing, again, what does this look like? Are some days locked in? Are they goofing off some days? Are they just going through the motions? Are they talking while you're talking? Are they paying attention to each other? Are they giving, receiving feedback from you? How is it going? Are they talking negatively about what is about to happen in the next game, competition? Are you noticing body language, different things that are coming up for them? Is it consistent if you were looking from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all the different practice days? Or is this just totally random? We're not going to overhaul everything. I didn't do that with this team to win the championship. What we do here is we are going to anchor in with what you already have, and we're going to build upon that with one consistent habit. When I did this with the cheer team, we met before competitions. I would jump on a Zoom call with them. We literally would talk about where they are on a scale from 1 to 10, ranking, how they're feeling, locked in, focused, stressed, pressure, all the things. And over the course of the season, as they were approaching states, they stopped wasting time. They got their heads where they needed to be right away. If you do this in the beginning of your practice, you're going to stop wasting the first 20 minutes of warming up mentally. They're going to enter your practice already locked in. By the time this team hit sectionals and states, their locked in version, it was just the norm. I didn't have to set an expectation or a goal for the day. This is just what they did. That is a huge reason why they perform so well at the state championship when it really counts. I got a text message from the coaches before they went on to perform that day. They were performing in the evening. One of the athletes had said to them, "My brain just can't get worried or nervous. I'm just so excited. I want to compete." She was locked in because this is what we practiced. When I met with them before the final routine, because you have to advance and get to the final routine when you're at states for cheerleading, they were in a really noisy arena. They had to go into this back hallway. They were asking different people who were at the event, "Can we sneak in here?" It was almost like, are we even allowed in this area? They did let them in, but teams were walking off and out after they had competed. You could hear music. It was really something that was overwhelming. However, I loved it because I knew that this is going to be what they're about to compete in. It's going to be loud. It's going to be noisy. And we need to be able to get their head in the right space here. We had a check-in call. I FaceTimed them before they went on the mat. The coach sent me a text message, and I quote, it said, "In all of that noise in the background, they said that calmed them," and all the exclamation points following. I responded back, "Okay, good. It was actually really good to do there as long as they could hear me." Remind them that that is the perfect practice to calm their mind and their body. They are in the actual environment, and that some people are trying to create that. This was the perfect place to prime their brain and practice it. If you're doing this in practice, this is what's going to happen. Every time they're practicing it, they're going to be shifting their habits. That's what happened with this team. That's why they became champions. You're not just telling them, all right, I need you to focus, try harder. I had someone tell me recently that their coach tells them to leave everything at the fence. What the hell does that mean? Leave everything at the fence. And you don't even talk about any of the issues. No. And I'm not saying we're going to stop the whole practice unless it's something major. We can't do that. I get it. You have to lock in and be able to practice, but you also can't just assume that your athletes are going to be able to leave it at the door or leave it at the fence before you walk onto the field. What? No. That's just like saying in one of my other episodes when I say, be confident, and your athletes are nodding their heads like, okay, sure. Yeah, we're going to do that. They don't know how to do these things unless you are teaching them. Inside my CHAMP framework, CHAMP, the H stands for habits, not just conditioning or drills on the physical side, but mental and emotional habits. Be the bird right now and, be in the gym, on the tree, watching the field, wherever your team competes. You're doing all the things, right? Physically, I know you are. You wouldn't be listening to this podcast. All the different plays that you're running, the jumps, the stunts, the different routines, the different things that you are doing physically to make sure your athletes are ready. Be honest though, when you're that bird sitting up in the branch looking down, are you drilling the state your athlete is in when they do those drills? Are you focusing on the mental side of the sport? Champions don't leave their mental state to chance, and champion coaches make sure that the athletes don't leave that mental state to chance. They have habits that get them to the right state on purpose. Let me repeat that last part. On purpose. You don't say to a team, leave it at the door, leave it on the fence. Breathe, be confident, and think that it's just going to happen. No, this is purposeful. This is done as a habit. The great news is it's tiny little habits and they create big game behavior. You don't have to do this for an entire practice. When I work with coaches, the way I intertwine is not getting in the way and taking things over. I don't say, oh, you have practice on Monday, Wednesday, Friday this week. Okay, well, Monday and Wednesday, I'm taking over those practices. Not at all. We schedule this in before, after practice. When I meet with a team prior to a game or competition, like my New York champions, it's quite literally 5 minutes before they get on the warm-up mat. I am not taking over the entire time. That just doesn't make sense. What your team does, though, in that first 5 minutes of practice, or after a mistake, or when they're tired at the end of the session, this is exactly what they're going to do under a pressure situation. If their default, what they automatically go to in practice is to check out, joke around, and maybe spiral after a mistake, that's their game day habit too. Be honest, be the bird on the branch right now. You know if that's what's happening. You don't need a 20-step mindset curriculum to start championship habits. They are small, simple, and repeated relentlessly. Let me give you one simple team habit that you can put into place this week. I need to jump in here. Coach, quick question. Do your athletes look amazing at practice, but when the game gets tight or you have a big competition, they panic, lose focus, fall apart, start talking negatively before they even compete, missed plays, bad body language, heads down? You know they have the talent, but pressure is winning. That's not a talent problem. That's a mental side of the sport problem. I run a team program called The Champion Within, where I train athletes using my CHAMP framework: confidence, habits, attitude, mental imagery, and purpose. I literally retrain their brains so they know how to stay calm, get focused, and compete like the champions they are. When the moments get big, they need to know how to regulate their nervous system. It needs to be automatic. The teams that win consistently, they train their minds, not just their bodies. Just go down to the show notes, click on the link, or send me a DM on Instagram with the word team, and I'll get you everything you need. Okay, let's get back to the podcast. I call this the first 5 championship habit. Right now, I want you to pick one moment that happens every single day with your team. I personally like the first 5 minutes because it sets the tone for everything. Right now, ask yourself, what usually happens in those first 5 minutes? Is it intentional or is it chaos? I'm not judging you, but I want you to ask and be honest with yourself. I'm going to give you an example routine. For 1 minute, you're going to do silently or guided breathing. Phones are not out, eyes are closed, or you can just be looking down. If your team has never trained breath work and learned how to breathe properly, 1, hello, hi, I'm here. You should send me a message. But let's just do an inhale and an exhale where they're breathing in through their nose and out through their mouth. I'll just give you a little tip that the exhale should be a little longer. If they've never practiced this, just do 3 count in, 1, 2, 3, breathing in through the nose, and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out through the mouth. So it's doubled longer. And then for 2 minutes, I want you to have them do a check-in. On a scale from 1 to 10, I want them to tell you, how focused are you right now? You're asking the question. On a scale from 1 to 10, how focused are you right now? 1 to 10. You need to set the tone with them in the beginning here that honesty is going to help. If they all say 10 and their brains are somewhere else, that's just not going to help anyone. It's not going to help them. It's not going to help you. If they all give you a 1 or a 2 and a quick, this is what happened today, do you know how much information you're getting there that is really helpful? A ton. This is not spilling all the beans and giving all the dirt here. You may find out that something major happened during the day or something is really upsetting them that you didn't know about. And you need to know your athletes. Of course, we love when they're up closer to the 8, 9, 10s. But if somebody is giving you a 1, 2, and afterwards, I like to say, in 5 seconds or less, tell me why you're a 1 to 10. If you don't give them the 5 seconds or less, you know that athlete, or maybe you have a handful of the athletes that will give you a full dissertation. We don't have time for that. This is 5 minutes. You love them, but we don't have time for that. You can learn so much in 5 seconds. On a scale from 1 to 10, how focused are you right now? 5 seconds or less, tell me why you picked the number. If the majority of your athletes are up high, good, and they tell you why, that's good. If you have a lot of athletes that are down low and something major happened that day at school, this is important for you to know. If you have 1 or 2 that are at a 1 or a 2, and they're typically at like a 7, 8, 9, or even maybe 10s mostly, something is going on with this athlete. This is so important for you to know. Stop saying, leave it at the fence, leave it at your door, drop it in your locker. I teach athletes how to compartmentalize so that they can get locked into practice. However, you do need to know your athletes and know what's going on. To ignore all of these things is just irresponsible, and you need some empathy. Your athletes are learning how to be better humans when they leave you. One of my favorite coaches, shout out to Coach Angela at Sun Valley High School. One of her go-to lines is always, I want them to be better humans when they leave my program. When somebody is at a 1 or 2, you sure as shit better find out why. And you don't always have to do this in front of the whole team, but you can saddle up beside them and have a little chat when you're in the first actual physical drill, right? Then the next thing that you're going to do, and I know I'm talking a lot here, this is going to go quicker when you do this. I really wanted to explain it to you. The next thing that you're going to say is, what's one way you'll show up like a champion in this practice? So you have 2 questions there. We start with the check-in from 1 to 10, how focused you are. Give me a 5-second reason why after you give me your number. Question number 2 is after that check-in with the why. Do this in a big circle, right? Everybody's there talking. The second question is, what's one way you'll show up like a champion in this practice? After that's done, Have a quick team connection, a short huddle. Everyone says their number or an intention, a simple call and response. If I'm thinking about my New York cheer team, I know their statement was always ready, set, go. I said it, then they said it. However you want to do this. If you are my lacrosse team right now, gentlemen, I would have you saying your numbers out loud to me. 11, 41, 22, 1, 6. So you're checking in with yourself and each other as a team. After we do that and we say each number, then I would say our team motto together, because it's an inside out job starting with yourself. And then, of course, it's the team as a whole. And that's it. That's the whole routine. When you create this habit and you step into your practice like this, we switch on. Your brain is going to switch on. Right now, I want you to commit to this for at least 2 weeks. No matter what, whether everyone is late, tired, goofy, you still run the first 5. You're building this shared expectation. You are building a new habit. This is going to show them this is how we start. This is who we are. You will start to notice a couple things. Less wasted time at the start. There's going to be fewer random attitudes, more consistent level to be on focus, even on the off days. That consistency that you start seeing and developing in practice will become consistency when they're under pressure competing in the game, the big game, the playoffs, the competition, during the regular season, or it's at the playoffs and the state level. This is exactly the kind of small, repeatable habit that I locked in with my cheer team that became the state champions. We didn't magically make them more talented. They had the talent. We made their habits more championship level. This is the H in my champ framework. We don't just talk about mindset. We build routines that your athletes are going to repeat so many times that they can't help but bring them into the competition. Just like that athlete said to the coach when I got the text, my brain can't go there. My brain's just not going to do that, because we were practicing, quite literally retraining her brain to be calm, to be confident, to be ready. In other episodes, I'm going to hit on those other letters in that champ framework: confidence, attitude, mental imagery, and purpose. Today, obviously, we're talking about the H with habits. If you're listening and realizing that your team's habits are not at a championship level yet, that's the work that I do inside the Champion Within programs. If you want to see if the Champion Within programs are a good fit for your team, go right down to my show notes. You can go to my website at shop.danunow.com. In the show notes, you can click on the link, send me a message, set up an appointment, whatever's easiest for you. Or if you're on Instagram, DM me and I will get you all of the information. You'll have the details. We can have a quick call. I want you to remember that champions aren't built on big speeches. They're built on these tiny habits repeated on purpose. Start with your first 5 this week and make sure you come back on Sunday for our next episode. You know I'm rooting for you always. Have an amazing week ahead.
Thank you for hanging out with Kate today. And whether you're going to coach, teach, cheer from the sidelines, or hitting the field yourself, remember, mindset is everything. Don't forget to follow the show for the latest episodes, as we all need a little extra motivation, humor, and sanity in our busy lives. Now, go and unleash your champion within you, one step at a time. We're always rooting for you.